we are a time that where the audiences are really ready to go into theaters massively to see animation for adults. When I speak to theaters, I always say an animation movie is a movie, full stop. So it's true that sometimes when we release movies addressed to young audiences, young adults or adults, we always find out the day of the release that some theaters just put one screening on Wednesday because it's Kids' Day at 2 p.m., which is a complete illogical thing because most people work on Wednesday at 2 p.m. So, in fact, I think the generation is always also changing in the theater world. Theater owners are getting younger, and I think they understand what is adult animation. But it's a process, and it's a long process.
Why did you choose animation as a director for your new projects?
Because animation is cinema, and you know, I discovered just now, because I never thought like that. I discovered now that maybe I will have to fight sometime when there is after a film question and answers. They talk about the fact that, for example, documentaries, they talk about you have done like this number of films, but say, wait, I've done feature documentaries that count the same. It's films, animation, and animation is the same. So, of course, artistically, there is no difference for me. My favorite film for years when I was just starting doing cinema was Akira. But it was a cinema film for me. It was just like not a question of technique. So cinema is cinema. Why now? It's because I guess two things. A bit like the interest, for example, for series. For me, it was no interest for many, many years. But creation went in a certain level and possibilities. And I think in animation, technically, today you have a lot of mixture. I think the thing is like growing in a nice way, like the eclosion of something is getting bigger, and the boundary that you have very separated between the genre, the techniques are like fading, like anywhere else actually. And yeah, so when I enter art school, for me, I wanted to make animation film. I never did it. I did only pieces of my films because it was a good way to tell that piece of the story. So this project is so special. I'm talking now about Epifania, the film we are. It's very special. It's very visually. You can do it in live. You can think about doing it live, but then you count into so much million, and then still, I think it will be less interesting for me. It's another fight. I think animation allows you to go in art dimension, to make metaphoric, to be more poetic in a certain way, but the way you treat the film, for me, when I do the storyboard, when I do the script, or think about the character, it's exactly the same as I do a film. So why now? Because now I think the room is coming up. My interest, I see more and more bigger animation, even in the series. You know, one of sorry, I'm going to talk about networks which are not cinema directly, but I was blessed, you know, when I was in the 80s when I saw Heavy Metal, the film, because I was animation adult, I was like, wow, at the cinema. And now you see what? You see Love, Death and Robots, which is creatively, you know, something super interesting as the next film, maybe from a big director that you love. So yes, super. Let's hope that there is finance for that. That's only the thing I don't know really. So.
And it's also true that CGI is more and more predominant in live action, so it's getting also closer to animation. Yes. They are bonding.
I think also the change will come with big money and big business. There was an article in Variety yesterday saying how Japanese animation became the most bankable cinema. So I think now the audiences, we are at a time that where the audiences are really ready to go into theaters massively to see animation for adults. So I really think we are at a crossroad now, and if we can speak of forbidden words, I think all the platform, the work that they're doing, is also by opposition. It also because a few months ago I released into cinema Akira in a remastered version, and it was a huge success. And everybody told me, no, it's not gonna work because it's everywhere on platforms, it's everywhere on DVD, Blu-ray, and so on. But the reality is that the people want to see it on big screen, and they want to share the emotion. They want to see the movie as it was intended, meaning a big spectacle. So I'm really confident that we are at a crossroad, and things are changing. And I'm really confident that the movie we're working with Ian and the production team, Epifania, who tackle with very, very present preoccupation, ecology, capitalism, the survival of the planet, the future for the young people. I really think it will be able to move people and to bring them to cinema.
Yeah, I hope so too. Well, also I think one other interesting thing what you notice is that was also present in the pitches that we just saw, is that more storytellers are interested in telling stories that sort of bring together different realities and different perspectives in their storytelling. And they also, I think, a lot of storytellers discover that animation is just like a perfect way to express these different realities and combine them in a very seamless way in creating one sort of story world, like merging different story perspectives or realities or times. And you see that works in anime, but it also works in a lot of the sort of art house stories that are being developed, and also like the adult animation series that are being created. And I think it's also, so I think the type of story that we want to see right now is better told in animation. So I think it's just, our time is coming as animation producers.
That was the case for Flea. That's what you are mentioning.
And I have to say, I'm working with Netflix in LA, and we have a slate of feature film for adults with them. And you probably saw in the press that the family department in Netflix went down, but not the adult one. So we have one big TV series for Splinter Cell and one feature film unannounced yet with a director who haven't done animation before either. And they ask us to propose animation for adults, and they like only 13 plus. That's so. And 5 years ago, when because it took about 5-6 years to finance Flea, and we did it on the classical way. The financial plan, there's almost 40 financiers on the financial plan, and it was like really like question, but why animation, and why do you take, because it costs quite a lot of money compared to a documentary, but then there's like, so why will you use the budget of 4 documentary to do one movie? Like, it doesn't add on. But the argument was, but using animation, you're gonna have 4 times, maybe 5 times more people watching the film. But the thing is, you need films that works, like thanks God for Vals with Bashir or Persepolis, because then you can build on your case when you apply, like when you try to finance your film. So I think we really all producers and directors are helping the industry. But I also want to say, which is strange, is that for me, why it worked for Flea is because we had like script writers, editor coming from live action and from animation and from documentary, and they worked together and brought the best of their own field into the film. But I think here in Cannes, you don't have a lot of people from animation, and in Annecy, you don't have people from live action. And it starts there. It's like live action people go to the live action market. Documentary, they go to IDFA, they go to the documentary market, and they have these different schools, different commissioners, different, so it's already so in boxes that it's really hard to like, how can we be more transversal? And I think that's what was wonderful to see that Flea was in 3 categories, because it means that the expert, our peers in documentary, our peers in live action, and peers in animation could recognize this as a film. And I think I really want to underline that we need to not think about one box, but I think the world it's easier to put things into boxes. But I don't think it doesn't for a movie. I think we all are gaining. A movie is gaining to bring the best from the filmmakers in general.